guys. So at the moment it is the 21st of September, something like that. It's towards the end of September. So I know that over the past couple of weeks a lot of people will have either started uni for the first time or gone back to uni after the summer holidays, or possibly started a brand new course, something like moving from your undergraduate degree into your master's. And so I decided to do a video just since I have just finished my master's, talking through some of my top tips for getting through your master's degree. It is a lot of work, it's absolutely worth it, and it is an amazing experience. But I just thought I'd share with you a few of the tips that I think are helpful for getting you through what is probably going to be one of the craziest years of your life, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, so tip number one is probably the most obvious one, but it is also the most important one. For getting through study like that, time management is absolutely key. You're going to have a whole load of work to do in terms of reading to do outside of class, essays and assessments to write for your classes, study for seminar sessions, so you might have exercises to do in advance of seminar sessions. Chances are, I mean it depends on what course you're doing, but you'll probably have an element of group work at some point, so you're going to have to work out times that you're able to fit in work with other people. I've got a list here, what else had I put on this list? Some degrees have placements, so you might have a certain sort of part of your week is sectioned off for doing a placement, and a certain, you know, if you're maybe doing nursing, so it'll be in a hospital or whatever, and you might even also have a part-time job. So you've got a lot of things that you have to try and factor in. These are just all the kind of things that you need to take into account when you are figuring out how you're going to go about your week. It is ever so tempting when you get home after a really long day of being in the library or having classes to just go to bed and sleep. Trust me, it is so tempting. But if you do have a part-time job, or you know, you do have a placement or something like that that's taking up a lot of the space between classes during the day, you do want to try and get some of that extra reading done at night. Also make use of the time between classes. My friends and I, you know, there were times where it was just, you really just wanted to sit in the cafe in uni and drink cups of tea and not stress yourself, but especially when it comes to things like group work, take advantage of the spaces that you've got between classes. If you've maybe got two classes in the morning and then a gap across lunchtime till mid-afternoon, make use of that. Find yourself a little corner of the library, or maybe a computer lab somewhere in the university that you and even just a couple of friends can go and just, you know, work on a bit of an essay that you've got coming up or something like that. Just take advantage of these little bits of time because they are really useful. Getting something like a planner, like a diary planner organizer, is a really good idea because it helps you just keep everything noted down, so you know when your deadlines are, you know how much time you've got to do certain pieces of work. You can factor in things like if you do have a part-time job, or even just factoring in family time, or you know, time with friends or whatever, factoring that in. It just helps you have everything laid out clearly, and I think it makes the world of difference to be able to just have a look at everything written down and, you know, score things off the list as you go. So on to the second tip, something that I mentioned in that last one about time management, is group work. Now, it doesn't really matter what degree you're doing, there's probably going to be an element of group work somewhere in there, even if it is just in seminar sessions, or it might be a project that you have to do outside of class. I had a lot of group work as part of my master's, and I can tell you it was an experience, because in some cases you get lucky. In one of my cases I was really lucky and worked with a group that we all got on fantastically and everyone worked equally hard and it was fantastic. Other situations you maybe find that it's not quite that easy. One of the most obvious things I think is that every single person will have a slightly different working style, and you might find that there's a bit of a clash in terms of how you work with how someone else works. So it might be a case of you start working with someone else and you figure out that you like to be super organised and get things done really far in advance and plan everything out, something that I like to do, and someone else in your group might not feel that way at all. They might like to leave things till the last minute, not really, you know, sort of plan ahead, and that works for some people. The kind of pressure of only having a small amount of time to do the work in really works for some people, and so obviously that is going to be difficult. So whatever your preferred working style is, you're probably going to have to compromise on that a little bit and just try to be flexible. It can be really frustrating if you're finding that your work is dependent, you know, the grade that you're getting is dependent on how someone else works, but just try to relax into it. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and sometimes it is going to be a challenge. For going off into the working world, having experience working with different people with different working styles is really useful. So as difficult as it can be sometimes, take a deep breath, try to be as flexible as you can in terms of how the work is done. Maybe find a way of dividing it up in terms of figuring out what someone else is really good at. So maybe someone else is really strong in terms of presenting, so if you've got a group presentation to do, let them take the lead on that, and you maybe are really good at the researching part, so you like to be maybe slightly more behind the scenes. So there's ways of kind of going about it. Just figure out what someone else's strength is in comparison to what yours is, and try and sort of balance that out, and that will make life a lot easier. What's difficult is if you find a situation where several members of the group all have the same strengths, so maybe a lot of you like to present or a lot of you like to make the PowerPoint presentation or whatever, but just know that at the end of the day, once you get through that, that's another piece of work done. So just try to be cooperative, and you know, it'll all work itself out, but it is something that you do need to be prepared for. This third tip is sort of a no-brainer, but do extra reading. It can be a bit of a challenge when you've got so much else going on, so you've got all of your classes and lectures and seminars and all these things to work on, and assessments maybe piling up. But doing extra reading does the world of good, not only in terms of your actual assessments, but even just in terms of in class time. If you have read something that no one else has read and you can sort of pipe up with a comment from that, it feels really good to be able to make a unique point. Lecturers and tutors and all that are always quite impressed if you have managed to do extra reading, and especially at master's level, you know, there's just kind of an assumption there that you will go and think outside the box, and you will read articles that other people haven't read, and you won't sort of expect to be spoon-fed. You will find that there are lists from, you know, for my course certainly, they're really good at giving you sort of book recommendations and stuff in your course handbook, but in terms of the actual articles that you're going to read, other than the set readings, go and find some other things to read, because it helps for you for when you're actually studying and doing your assessments, because you can pull different pieces of information together, and that, you know, it can help you have a greater understanding of the topic that you're studying. But in addition to that, just in terms of how you feel in class, it can really build your confidence to do that extra reading, because you know, it's what the tutors are looking for. So definitely do some extra reading. Number 4 is a super duper massively important one, but it is make some time in your busy schedule, because it's going to be a busy schedule. Make some time to spend with friends, with family, with maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whoever. Set some time aside in the week, even if it's just one evening a week. So it's maybe a Friday night is your night that you go and hang out with your best friends, you go out for some drinks and you let your hair down and you just take a bit of a pause, because if you don't, you'll burn yourself out. I found in March of this year that it got towards sort of the end of March, beginning of April, and I just felt absolutely exhausted, because all of my assessments were due in April over the space of a couple of weeks, and so because I'm quite organised and I like to get things done in advance, come sort of the middle of March, I was on a mission to try and get as much work done as possible, and I still had classes at that point, and I just felt like I was totally burned out within the space of a couple of weeks, and that's not good for you. You need to take some breaks. So in addition to taking breaks just to spend time with friends or family, or you know, a partner or whatever, also take some breaks to do something that you really love. So if it's something like this, so if you have a blog or a YouTube channel, take some time out to write a blog post or watch some YouTube videos or film a YouTube video. Even if it's just a vlog ranting to vent, to get some of your kind of stress out, do something like that. If you play a sport, you know, if you like to play badminton or swim or run or whatever, take some time out to do something like that. If you like to go to the cinema, pencil in, you know, a little space at the weekend or something to go and see a film. Just make sure that you take some time out from, you know, the craziness that is your actual study schedule, and spend some time doing something that you really love. When you have so much work to do, you know, fitting everything in is difficult, but if you fit all of the work in, it's kind of what they say, like, you know, all work and no play, yada yada. You will just completely stress yourself out, and I don't think that you do your best work when you're in a situation like that. So even if it is just taking an hour out to go for a walk, to go and catch up with your mum, to phone your best friend, whatever it is, do something like that, because these breaks are what refresh you and get you back into a healthy mindset for getting the rest of the work done. In addition to that, just a couple of kind of obvious points. Make sure that you're keeping yourself hydrated. I know this sounds like, you know, you're going on some sort of trek around the desert, but sometimes it feels a bit like that. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated, so drink lots of water and stuff while you're in uni, because if you're in, so there were days that I was in, I'm not joking, from 8 in the morning till like 8:30 at night sometimes, at the times of really, you know, getting a lot of the assessments done. Not good for you if you don't drink plenty fluids throughout the day, so make sure that you drink lots of water, no alcohol. You can save the wine for when you've gone home, and get proper amounts of sleep, because again, because I'm a night owl, it's really hard for me to have an early night, but sometimes you just need to do it. Sometimes you need to literally get home from uni, have a wee bite to eat for dinner, something light because you're about to fall asleep, and just go to bed. Sometimes it just has to be done. And number 5 on the list is just enjoy it. Sometimes it feels impossible because you will have, you know, got the bus or walked or driven or whatever it is into uni at the crack of dawn, and especially during the winter months when it's dark, and you get there when it's dark and you go home when it's dark, and you don't see your friends for the space of a week if you're not listening to, you know, point number 4, and your head is just a muddle of all of this work and all of these, you know, essays and articles and stuff, but at the same time it's just such a great experience. It's something that you will look back on so fondly. Try to enjoy it and see it as such an amazing opportunity to get to keep studying to this level, and you'll probably make a whole heap of new friends, and just take some time to appreciate the fact that it's a really wonderful experience, and no matter how stressful it gets at points, you will get through it. There will be days where you will think, I honestly don't know how I'm going to get all of these assessments done, you know, within such a short space of time, or why has my tutor given me this massive pile of work to do for a seminar when I've got a group presentation tomorrow? How on earth am I going to manage to get any of this done? But you will do it, and you will get through it, and you'll be so proud of yourself when you are. So just take a little bit of time sometimes to take a step back and enjoy the fact that you're getting to do it. So that's my tip number 5. So that's it for my top tips for studying a master's degree video. I hope that you have enjoyed that, and I hope that if you're about to start your master's, whatever it is, if you're a couple of weeks into the course now, which I'm sure some of you are, that you're enjoying it so far. It is a great experience, and I'm kind of envious of you for getting to do it now, because I just absolutely loved the past year. No matter how much I moaned occasionally about the amount of work that there was to do, it was fantastic. So enjoy it. I hope that you liked that video, and I hope that it was helpful for some of you. I know the tips were probably fairly obvious, but they just are some things to take into consideration when you're getting started, because if you start taking these tips on board early, you know, within the first few weeks of the course, by the time you're heading towards the end of it, it'll just be part of your routine and you won't even think about it. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that video, guys, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye! Anyway, so we just met another lovely food blogger. Not that I'm a food blogger, but you know, we met a nice food blogger to say hi. And so yeah, we're going to eat this.